Hi guys, welcome to this video. My name is Marc and I'm the leader of this group. This video is for academic purposes only. Our final project and exam in 21st century literature from the Philippines and the world. Our final project and exam is to create a vlog in which we're going to compare the Philippine literature versus the literature of the world. And the country that assigned to us was Asian literature, and we're going to compare it to the literature of the Philippines. Without further ado, let's get into it. History. Asian literature refers to the literature that was written over a period of thousands of years in a variety of countries in Asia. Asian literature encompasses the rich and widely diverse cultural and ethnic heritages found in various countries in Asia, such as East Asian literature that includes Chinese, Japanese, and Korean literature. Central Asian literature comprising of Bengali, Indian, Pakistani, and Tamil literature. West Asian literature that covers Arabic literature, Persian literature, and Turkish literature. And Southeast Asian literature that is comprised of literature of the Philippines. So now let's talk about the characteristic. The study of the massive amount of Asian literature as a whole requires the aggregation of literature under specific headings. Asian literature can be divided into a host of different labels, categorized according to religion, zone, region, ethnic group, literary genre, historical perspective, or language of origin. Let's talk about the prominent writers in Asia and also their literary piece. First author is Sonny Liu. Sonny Liu is a Singaporean writer, and his famous literary piece was a graphic novel named The Art of Charlie Chan Hak Chie. Next is Han Kang. Han Kang is a multi-award winning South Korean author of notable works that include The Vegetarian and Human Acts. Next is Haeun Seo Lee. Haeun Seo Lee is a North Korean defector, the author of The Girl with Seven Names, which tells the riveting story of her escape from North Korea. And lastly, Andrea Herrera. Andrea Herrera is the biggest selling Indonesian author of all time. His novel The Rainbow Troop sold over 4 million copies in Indonesia alone, and was adapted into a movie that broke box office records. Asia is one of the largest continents, and it encompasses a diverse population with a long and extensive history, with the ethnic and cultural diversity increasing in our communities, and an increased focus in multicultural education. The inclusion of this literature in any course of study will be an enhancement. With a history that can be traced thousands of years, countries in Asia provide the key into how civilization began. The first novel written was in 11th century in Japan. The novel is The Tale of Genji, and it was written by Murasaki Shikibu, a woman. Also of note is the artwork attached to this novel. It encompasses many of the qualities valued by the Japanese, and allows for a very specific and well-orchestrated view of the Heian court during Murasaki Shikibu's life. By reading texts such as this, as well as the religious texts that have survived centuries as well, we are able to gain a better understanding of the history and culture of Asia, which in turn enable us to better understand the diversity and multicultural aspect of our own American culture.
Brief history about Philippine literature. Philippine literature is literature associated with the Philippines from prehistory through its colonial legacies and on to the present. Pre-Hispanic Philippine literature was actually epics passed on from generation to generation, originally through an oral tradition. However, wealthy families, especially in Mindanao, were able to keep transcribed copies of these epics as family heirloom. One such was the Rangin, an epic of the Maranaos. The characteristics of Philippine literature. An exposition of the literature of social truths and fictional imaginations. It caresses the senses of man, the viewer, the hearing, the sensation, the taste, the senses. In 2000, Villafuerte attributed this to a life but a simple word flowing into the human body. The literature has its own existence because it has its own throbbing and hot blood, flowing into the arteries and nena of every creature and the whole society in this case, and the Filipinos and their society. Important Philippine literature writers and their literary pieces. Dr. Jose Rizal. Rizal wrote this literary poem when he was still studying at the University of Santo Tomas. Originally written in Spanish, Rizal submitted this piece for a poem contest organized for Filipinos by the Manila Lyceum of Art and Literature. At the age of 18, this work is beaming with strong messages to convince readers, the youth in particular, that they are the hope of the nation. He also stresses the importance of education to one's future. Rizal won the first prize and was rewarded with a feather-shaped silver pen and a diploma. Significance of Philippine literature. Literacy is for all Filipinos. It is a kind of valuable remedy that helps people plan their own lives, to meet their problems, and to understand the spirit of human nature. A person's riches may be lost or depleted, and even his patriotism, but not literature. One example is the advancement of other Filipinos. Although they left their homeland, literature was their bridge to their left country. In the social, national, and global affiliation, literature is one of the basics of gaining the success and failure of a nation and the relations of nations. Significant literary piece. Noli Me Tangere. After publication, Noli Me Tangere was considered to be one of the instruments that initiated Filipino nationalism, leading to the 1896 Philippine Revolution. The novel did not only awaken sleeping Filipino awareness, but also establish the grounds for aspiring to independence. So far, I learned a lot with our topics and discussions, mainly about the history and importance of the Philippine literature and other countries' literature. Similarities and differences in themes and approach of Philippine and Asian literature. The similarities of the Philippine literature and Asian literature is they both focus on the country's pre-colonial cultural traditions and the socio-political histories of its colonial and contemporary traditions. They often concentrate on valuing race, community, and seeking a sense of belonging with equal care. While these subjects may be subjective, gender, sexuality, age, the establishment of conventional and adaptive culture, and racism are some of the established ideas. The difference of Philippine literature from Asian literature is mainly the Philippine literature being unique for having important works in many languages.
The reason for this similarity are, first, the culture of the Philippines is a combination of cultures of the East and West. Filipino identity was created primarily as a result of colonial cultures, colonial influences, and foreign traders intermixing and gradually evolving together. So, they are pertaining to a historical period including their cultures and tradition before the colonization began or happened, and same with the countries in Asia also. The reason for these differences are, of course, the uniqueness of Philippines from countries in Asia when it comes in creating written works or important pieces using many languages. When other countries colonized us, such as America, Spain, and etc., they taught us and learned their languages, and we still use it at this present time. According to some sources, the current status of their works, most of them are recognized not just only in Asia, but also around the world. And most of them can be seen and read through online websites, and some of them are available in bookstores. The current status of the writers, most of them are still alive, and some of them have passed away. All of their perseverance and hard work in creating those pieces was rewarded, and they become rich. That is it, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy and learn something from this video. Bye!